to Syria now, where the authorities have been holding what they call a national dialogue conference aimed at unifying the country. They're discussing a way forward for the country following the overthrow of the longtime dictator Bashar al-Assad in a bid to encourage a transition to democratic rule. But parties in Syria's autonomous Kurdish region have complained that minority groups have only token representation at the forum. In his opening address, President Ahmed al-Shara pledged to set up a transitional justice committee to pursue those responsible for crimes against the Syrian people. Meanwhile, the European Union on Monday suspended some sanctions on Syria, particularly restrictions on oil, gas and electricity trade. Now, Palestinians in the West Bank say the Jenin refugee camp has become uninhabitable after Israel ordered residents to leave and blew up houses in pursuit of militants. Correspondents say bulldozers are carving wide roadways through a once crowded maze of alleys. The Israeli foreign minister says his country's sole purpose in ordering 40,000 people out of West Bank camps is to act against terrorists. Israel has sent tanks into the occupied West Bank for the first time in more than 20 years. A spokesman for the Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas, called it a dangerous escalation that would not lead to calm. Meanwhile, Hamas says talks with Israel through mediators about extending the Gaza ceasefire deal are conditional on Palestinian prisoners being freed as agreed. The release of more than 600 Palestinians due last Saturday was delayed by Israel, which alleged Hamas was violating the truce. It's left talks on the second phase of the ceasefire in jeopardy. The White House has backed Israel's decision, describing what it called the barbaric treatment of Israeli hostages. Well, for more on these stories, I'm joined now in the studio by the Palestinian and Middle East analyst Abu Ramzy. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today with you.
Let's start with the West Bank. I mean, how significant is it that Israeli tanks would enter with the West Bank for the first time in more than 20 years?
Thank you for the question. If we go back a little bit, 2008, 2012, 2014 war with Israel, it was because of the West Bank. 2014 especially, it was because of the Jerusalem city. You know, when we speak about occupation, and when we speak about resolution, when we speak about peace process with the Palestinian Liberation Organization since 31 years, Arafat has signed an agreement with Israel to leave Gaza and West Bank on 1967 occupation, which also the eastern part of Jerusalem city as the capital of the Palestinian state. This is the solution of two states according to international resolution and international law. Now, this war, before the last year pusher and terribly destruction of Gaza, it's all about West Bank. And it's all about the belief of the radicals of the Israelis, because they take West Bank to be Yehuda and Samira, which
Judea
is
and Samaria.
Yes,
yeah,
which is biblical testimony in their own book. We are speaking about a land does not belong to you, and you claim it to be for you. What did you sign as peace process agreement with the Palestinians?
right. But nevertheless, not to interrupt you there, the issue harkens back to that attack on Israel on October the 7th, 2023. If that attack had not taken place, there would be no tanks rolling into the West Bank at the moment, would there?
Let me tell you one thing. We are speaking about attack from the Palestinians. Let us speak about the attack of the Israelis since 1948
No, I
against the
understand that,
Palestinians.
but this latest sequence.
No, this is latest. It's
This latest
75 years.
was started,
75 years under occupation.
I think
why
everybody understands.
I'm coming
that.
to
And
you.
there've been
Why
UN
this October
resolutions,
7 came?
There've been UN resolutions that have
why
condemned
this October
those
7 came?
occupations.
Why this October 7 came? If we look at the reason from ordinary look, the Vietnamese fought the Americans. Anywhere in the world under occupation, they fought and they get their freedom. The Palestinians has the right, the full right, whether today or tomorrow or next 100 years to come, if they are still under occupation, they have the right to fight the occupation.
But international law does not allow you to kill unarmed civilians and to take them hostage.
Let me just point to you. Some of the massacres by the Israelis against the Palestinians since 1948, if you count it, it become more than 50 or 60 massacres against the Palestinians since 1948.
I can tell you this, there is no justification for the killing of civilians on either side. No justification at all. But let's move on from that, because I don't want to get bogged down in history. I need to deal with certain points. I mean, how are Palestinians in the West Bank, from what you're hearing, reacting to the fact that they're being turned into refugees again in that area and really have nowhere to go?
They have nowhere to go. I will ask Mahmoud Abbas, what can he do to the refugees which have been living from Jenin and another refugee
Now, what would his
camps.
answer be?
Well, I don't think he has an answer to that.
And of course, at the same time,
the only answer,
let
me cut you here. The only answer, it is to get liberation to the Palestinians wherever they are, whether in the West Bank or Jerusalem.
Yeah, but that's not happening, and it's not going
to
happen. Well, at the moment, it's not happening, not without some kind of peace deal with the Israelis. And of course, at the same time, the Israelis are expelling
When you say peace deal with the Israelis, does the Israelis...
Well, I mean, there is a peace deal.
Does the Israelis accept
There is a
agreement?
peace deal that the first phase is just ending, and the hope is that you'll continue into the second phase. We have to try to be optimistic. That's the only way you're going to get your freedom back. But at the same time that the Israelis are expelling civilian residents, they've also ordered the UN's Palestinian agency, UNRWA, which looks after refugees in the West Bank, to cease all work there. What impact is that likely to have?
You know what it means? You know, Knesset, that is the Senate,
the Israeli
Parliament, have give law to close down the UNRWA. Why? They want to cancel the issue of refugee or returning back home. Returning back home of the Palestinians, whether they are inside Gaza or inside West Bank or outside Palestine in general, they want by force to close this chapter, so nobody will be speaking about 9 million or 7 million plus refugees of the Palestinians around the world, whether in and out. That is why Israel is pushing to close down the refugees. That is one. Second...
You mean the refugee agents?
Yes. Not only agents. The issue of returning back home by the Palestinians. They want to close it down by closing the UNRWA, which is serving the refugees of the Palestinians, which it was created because of the Palestinians.
Well, the beyond that, I mean, I don't know whether there's any evidence to support what you're saying, but the point is that
there is no evidence.
No, hold on. The reason they gave, for which there was evidence, because investigations were carried out, was that there were members of UNRWA who were Palestinian militants.
There is no any evidence of that.
They claim at the beginning Israel.
They claim at the beginning.
Trace some of those.
They claim at the beginning of October 7 that 12 of the Palestinians in Gaza, they were in military operation by Hamas, and they are serving in UN or UNRWA in general. There is no any evidence.
Well, from your perspective,
by United Nations.
They believe
by United
there
Nations.
is evidence.
It is by United Nations.
No, the United Nations.
So many statements
hold on. The UN found some evidence and actually fired those people.
No.
They did fire them.
I don't.
No. That's a fact.
No.
Anyway, meanwhile, there is no news, is there, about the release of more than 600 Palestinian prisoners who were supposed to be released on Saturday night. They were part of the first phase of that ceasefire deal. The White House has said it backs Israel's decision to delay their release. What impact might that development have on the talks around the ceasefire?
Delays of releasing more hostages.
Right. So it will affect the hostages.
That is one. It will affect. If Israel is violating the deal, means the other part will not go on releasing anyone.
Yeah, but could that mean a return to war?
No, it will not return to war, but it will take time by negotiation.
How do you know it won't return to war?
It will not.
What if the Israelis say they're going to forcibly go and try and get their people out?
We can study. You know, you asked me last week if the Lebanon border are going to return to war or not. And I told you it's just the burial of Hassan Nasrallah, and they are just watching. And in that day, on that Sunday, so many troops by the Air Force.
They were buzzing.
They were buzzing.
The
Beirut.
Israeli planes were buzzing.
Yes, Beirut, and it went peaceful.
Yeah.
And I believe what will happen is just a few days by pressing here and there. What make Netanyahu get mad? It is the way the soldiers of the Israeli hostage kiss the Palestinian head, which he was under his own care.
Right.
He did not like it.
Well, he didn't like the
he didn't
way
like it.
that the
he didn't like
hostages
it.
were being
and he
used,
claimed
basically.
and he claimed that they were not treated well.
Yeah.
Which I don't believe they were not treated
well. We're almost
well.
out of time. Does it sound to you like Israel does not want to enter the second phase of that ceasefire deal, which calls for a full withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza, and also calls for talks on the future of Gaza? Do you think they don't want to have that discussion?
Definitely, Netanyahu doesn't want that.
Yeah.
Netanyahu is just want
So this could be a delaying tactic.
He's just delaying to see what the Arab summit will bring out.
Right.
And to
But nothing's come out of the Arab summit.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It is what the Palestinians, if the Palestinians stand on their feet and face all the challenges. If you look at the last statements by Donald Trump, he has withdrawn back most of his statements.
Right.
And I believe the Palestinians in Gaza will continue to stand on their feet until they get their freedom and they get whatever they want to get.
Well, we certainly hope that
today,
the war
today the foreign minister of Turkey
doesn't continue.
Today, the foreign minister of Turkey, he made very big statement. He said we cannot even believe that Israel will not start war after getting all the hostages, which is also in the accountability of Hamas or the Palestinians, because if we can see the houses has not entered, the amount of aid which is allowed to enter did not go according to the agreement. The number of people to be out for medical help and medical attention did not go as well. So many Israel violated, and we are still the last one, which is they are requesting for more soldiers to be free before they can.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to be watching that very closely.
We will look at Saturday.
Yeah. I want to thank you very much indeed. We always appreciate your coming in to give us
Thank you.
your
I'm here
analysis.
to serve you and serve my cause. So thank you.
Abu Ramzy is a Palestinian and Middle East analyst. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.